Millionaire CEO, took his twins on a blind date, pretended to be broke. Everything changed when she... The morning sun filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of David Harrison's penthouse office, casting long shadows across his mahogany desk. He sat motionless, staring at a photo of his twin daughters, Emma and Lily, their bright 8-year-old faces beaming back at him. The date circled in red on his calendar seemed to mock him. Saturday, 2 p.m., coffee with Sarah Chen. David had built Harrison Technologies from nothing into a billion-dollar empire, but lately, success felt hollow. His ex-wife had remarried and moved to Europe, taking the girls with her for most of the year. When Emma and Lily did visit, they seemed like strangers, more interested in their phones than spending time with their father. The loneliness had grown so thick he could almost touch it. His assistant had arranged the blind date despite his protests. "You need to get back out there, Mr. Harrison," she had insisted. "Sarah comes highly recommended. She's a teacher, volunteers at animal shelters, very down to earth." Down to earth. David almost laughed at the irony. His last 3 dates had ended the same way, women suddenly becoming very interested when they discovered his net worth, then acting disappointed when they met his daughters. One had actually suggested boarding school might be better for everyone involved. The intercom buzzed. "Mr. Harrison, the girls are here." David's face softened as Emma and Lily burst through his office doors, their matching backpacks bouncing as they ran. They had his dark hair and their mother's green eyes, and despite everything, they were still the best part of his world. "Daddy!" Lily launched herself into his arms while Emma hung back, suddenly shy. "How are my favorite troublemakers?" David asked, ruffling Lily's hair. "We're not troublemakers," Emma said seriously. "We're entrepreneurs. I sold 3 friendship bracelets at school yesterday. And I sold 2 cookies from my lunch," Lily added proudly. David smiled, the first genuine one he'd felt in weeks. "Well, I have an adventure planned for us today. We're going to meet someone new." The girls exchanged glances. They had learned to be wary of their father's someone new meetings. "Is she nice?" Emma asked carefully. "I hope so," David said honestly. "But here's the thing. I want her to like us for who we are, not for what we have. So today we're going to pretend we're just regular people, okay? Can you help me with that?" Lily's eyes lit up with mischief. "Like we're secret agents?" "Exactly. Like that." An hour later, David stood outside Corner Cafe, nervously adjusting his simple jeans and t-shirt. He had left his expensive watch and wedding ring at home, trading his usual luxury car for a modest rental. Emma and Lily flanked him, looking unusually subdued in their plain clothes instead of designer outfits. "Remember," David whispered, "I work in computers, we live in a small apartment, and we eat mac and cheese for dinner," Lily interrupted, excitedly. "Perfect," David said, though his stomach churned with guilt over the deception. Sarah Chen was already waiting at a corner table, and David's breath caught. She was beautiful in an understated way, shoulder-length black hair pulled back, simply wearing a comfortable sweater and jeans. She was reading to a small girl who sat beside her, completely absorbed in the story. "Sarah?" David approached tentatively. She looked up with warm brown eyes and smiled. "You must be David, and these must be Emma and Lily." The twins hung back, shyly, but Sarah didn't seem fazed. "I hope you don't mind," she said, gesturing to the little girl beside her. "This is my niece, Sophie. Her mom had an emergency at work, so she's joining us today. Sophie, can you say hello?" Sophie, who looked about 6, waved shyly from behind her book. "I love that book," Emma said suddenly, recognizing the cover. "The girl in it reminds me of me." Sarah's face brightened. "Really? What's your favorite part?" As Emma launched into an animated description, David watched in amazement. Within minutes, Sarah had all 3 girls chatting comfortably while she listened with genuine interest. When the server came by, David ordered coffee and asked for the kids' menu. "Actually," Sarah said quietly, "would it be okay if I treat the girls? I know eating out can be expensive, and I'd love to." David's planned response died in his throat. The gentle way she said it without judgment or pity made his chest tight. "That's very kind of you." As they ate, Sarah asked about his work. David stuck to his story about working with computers, fixing them for small businesses. Sarah nodded thoughtfully. "That must be challenging," she said. "Small business owners probably don't have much budget for repairs, but they need their equipment." "Working." "It is," David said, surprised by her insight. "Sometimes I end up doing work for free because I know they can't afford it." It wasn't entirely a lie. David did volunteer his company's services to nonprofits, though he'd never mentioned it in interviews or press releases. "That's wonderful," Sarah said warmly. "Sophie's mom runs a small bakery. Her computer crashed last month, and the repair estimate was more than she makes in a week. She's been doing everything by hand since then." David found himself leaning forward. "What kind of system does she have?" As Sarah described the problem, David's business mind automatically began formulating solutions. He caught himself getting animated about processor speeds and software compatibility, then worried he was revealing too much technical knowledge. But Sarah was listening intently, asking smart questions. "You really love what you do," she observed. "Do," David realized with surprise. He had been so focused on running his empire that he'd forgotten his original passion for actually building and fixing things. Meanwhile, the girls had migrated to a nearby couch with Sophie, building elaborate structures with sugar packets while Sarah kept one eye on them. "You're good with kids," David said. Sarah smiled. "I teach 3rd grade. 8- and 9-year-olds are my specialty." She paused, studying Emma and Lily. "Your girls are remarkable, by the way. Emma has an incredible vocabulary for her age, and Lily has this wonderful creative spark. You're doing something very right." David felt his throat constrict. His ex-wife's constant criticism had made him doubt every parenting decision. "It doesn't always feel that way. Their mother thinks I'm too permissive. Maybe she's right." "May I ask you something personal?" Sarah said gently. When David nodded, she continued, "Are you happy when you're with them?" "They're the best part of my life," David answered without hesitation. "It shows," Sarah said simply. "They adore you. Emma keeps looking over to make sure you're still here, and Lily mirrors everything you do. That doesn't happen with distant parents." They talked for 2 hours. David learned that Sarah had been teaching for 10 years, that she volunteered at 3 different animal shelters, and that she was helping her sister raise Sophie after Sophie's father had left. She was funny and kind, asking thoughtful questions about the girls and sharing stories that made them laugh. When Sophie spilled juice on her shirt, Sarah calmly cleaned it up without fuss. When Lily got tired and cranky, Sarah suggested they take a walk to the park next door. She seemed to anticipate the children's needs before they even expressed them. At the park, David pushed Emma on the swings while Sarah helped Lily across. The monkey bars. Sophie had attached herself to Emma, following her everywhere with obvious hero worship. "Daddy," Lily whispered as he lifted her down. "I like her. She's not scary like the others." Emma nodded emphatically. "She talks to us like we're real people." David's heart ached. His daughters had learned to expect adults who saw them as obstacles rather than individuals. As the afternoon wound down, Sarah gathered her purse and Sophie's backpack. "This has been wonderful," she said to David. "I hope we can do it again sometime." "I'd like that," David said, meaning it more than he'd meant anything in months. Sarah knelt down to hug Emma and Lily goodbye. "You two are amazing," she told them. "Your dad is lucky to have you." After they left, David sat on a park bench with his daughters, watching Sarah walk away with Sophie's hand in hers. "Daddy," Emma said quietly, "why did you tell her we live In an apartment? David's stomach dropped. You heard that? We heard lots of things, Lily said matter-of-factly. You said you fix computers for small businesses, but you own a big company. And you said we eat mac and cheese, but Mrs. Peterson makes us salmon. David looked at his daughters, seeing not just their mother's eyes, but a perceptiveness that was entirely their own. I was scared, he admitted. Sometimes when people find out about our money, they change. They become different around us. But she didn't ask about money, Emma pointed out. She asked about us. She wanted to pay for our lunch, Lily added, even though she thought you didn't have much money. David pulled them closer, understanding flooding through him. Sarah had been kind to a man she believed was struggling financially. She had treated his daughters with respect and warmth, thinking they were just ordinary kids. She had seen value in them that had nothing to do with wealth or status. You're right, he said softly. She's special, isn't she? Both girls nodded solemnly. What should I do? David asked, genuinely seeking their advice. Tell her the truth, Emma said immediately. She'll understand. But what if she gets angry about the lying? Lily considered this seriously. Then maybe she's not as nice as we thought, but I think she is that nice. That evening, David sat in his home office, staring at Sarah's number. Finally, he picked up the phone.